So welcome to Teams Day Online. If you're just joining us, this session today, Teams and Stream Better Together. My name is Chris Hoard. I'm a partner education lead for Fusion in the UK. I'm a Teams MVP, an MCT regional lead, and I'm a Teams administrator associate. So I recently took the MS 700 exam. So if you're thinking about doing that, if you're into Teams, I would recommend to go ahead and to do that. Today, we're going to be seeing how Teams as the hub for teamwork and Stream, the enterprise video service, works together. And just before we start, I'd just like to take a thanks to our sponsors and also Russ for inviting me and organising a truly wonderful event. All the speakers are giving up their time to show their passion for Teams, and I know that Russ is foremost amongst them, so thank you. So what to expect over the course of the next 40 to 45 minutes? Why? We're going to look into why Teams and Stream are better to work together, and all of these use scenarios that we may not have thought of, or if we're not even using Stream at all at the moment. We're going to move on and have a look at the how. How do we make them work together? What ways are they being used today by most organizations? And what further ways can we use them together to maximize our return on investment in Microsoft 365? And then for the third part, future development. What's coming down the road? What ways is it going to get even better? So we're going to start with the why. And even before we talk about Stream or talk about Teams, I think the very place when I was creating this to start off is, why is video itself important? And in all the demos and talks that I do, I'm a numbers guy. I like to work off the basis of numbers as opposed to sentiment. And I just wanted to throw up some of these, I would say, interesting figures about video. So over 70% today of the global internet consumption is estimated to be on video content. Video is a big thing. People understand video, people enjoy consuming video. 70% of the global internet consumption is a huge number when we come to think about all of that consumption and how people are using the internet today. It's a core part of how we use the internet, it's a core part of our experience. So if we're looking at things in market terms, then that's a massive part that video has a stakehold in. And it's not just consumption either. It's one of the chosen ways that people like to produce content for the internet. So here's another interesting statistic from Cisco. 5 million years to watch every video that crosses global IP networks per month. So if we think about all of that video being produced on a monthly basis, if we sat down and watched it, it would take us 5 million years. That kind of gives us just an idea of the amount of scale. But it, again, like consumption, it's how important it is to what people are doing on the internet, how they like kind of the format that they want to produce this information. But it's not just about consumption or production statistics. There is also a science behind this as well. You know, a couple of months back, I was looking at information to put this together, and I came across this article in Live Science, which I found was fascinating. It takes 13 milliseconds for the brain to process an image, and that's 60,000 times faster than text. So when we start thinking about video, it is an extremely efficient way to be able to store information and be able to translate what it is that you want to say. People can read books, people can read blogs and large documents, but physiology and science is showing us that the more efficient format is video. And then taking a statistic that's a little bit closer to home, 1 in 3 people watch at least one online video a week. So that is across age and range, and that so is becoming a cultural norm. I can't speak in terms of other countries, but I would imagine in most developed countries that this is a similar figure. So whether it's a close family friend or whether it's a colleague or whether it's your boss, there's going to be a lot of people looking at video online every week. So you can see from a consumption, production and efficiency perspective, and from a cultural norm, video sits at the very center of our day-to-day lives. And there's no more bigger statistic than I can kind of roll out today than looking at the success of YouTube, which is I think the most well-known video sharing service. So if we look at the growth of social media platforms over the course of the last 15 years, if you ask the average person, they would probably say, well, hey, look, Facebook or Twitter is probably the biggest social platform, when it's not. I mean, look at the statistics for YouTube. That's close to 85 million people that platform has grown at, and that's all based around video. And if you look at the statistics of the YouTube platform, the numbers are mind-boggling. 1 billion unique monthly visitors, so 1 out of every 2 internet users are on YouTube. And also an important statistic to highlight is that it reaches more adults aged 18 to 34 than any cable network. So video is again terribly important when consuming information or producing information. Now, I guess this is where we start to open up the conversation to start talking about stream. So why not just use YouTube anyway for all of our corporate video or our personal video? If we're looking at things from a corporate perspective, then one of the problems is privacy. We might be producing video for our own IP and don't want to actually put that on a public platform for people to consume. There can be competitors, there can be people that can copy our content. So privacy is a big thing when looking at public video platforms like YouTube, and it makes kind of organizations say, I don't want to share my IP and my content on that platform. I wish I had a platform of my own to be able to use. The second is in terms of compliance. Is YouTube and the public platforms compliant for our needs? Does it have the control for us to go in and control what people can see, control what people can access? So for a lot of enterprise style organizations, YouTube doesn't always meet that compliance requirement. They want it in data centers within their own region, because they have to adhere to compliance like GDPR, for example. Then also as well, it is all about the relevance. So obviously on a public video platform, your video is put with a whole load of other content of both a personal and a corporate nature. So your videos can get kind of lost in the millions of other videos that are there, and the content is 99.99% not relevant to your workers for what it is that they're trying to do. So if you had your own video platform, then you could put, you're in charge of the content, so it will be much more relevant to the people within the business. And if you had your own video platform, then you could direct your workers to that platform as opposed to the public platforms like YouTube. And then the last point, and I think one of the most important, is in terms of equity. What I mean by equity is that if you use Stream, if you use your own personal platform, you can give your users within your business equal access to all of your content and assets, should you want to do so. Again, if we think about the public platforms, there really is no kind of guidance. It's just, completely all out there. And if you said to somebody, well, hey, look at the Teams videos on YouTube, then some people would be very adept at going and finding them, and then some people wouldn't. So you're getting a very skewed experience for all of the people within your business. So equity is a big point to consider too, and how people are getting to access that video. So moving on to why Stream is great for video, I just want to call out some of these reasons. The first is that it's very flexible and robust in terms of its video formats. You have video in all different kinds of formats: FLV, WAV files, WMV. Stream can house all of and play all of those video formats, because what it does is it actually containerizes those video formats in order to be able to play them. So whether, however, what type of files, you can use 99% of them in Stream today. The second is in terms of performance. So underlying the Stream platform, the way that its architecture allows it to use adaptive bitrate streaming. So what that actually means is it adapts to the network conditions. So say that you are in kind of patchy areas of Wi-Fi, then Stream is going to adjust in order to continue to play the video. Now that might mean that the pixels go down a little bit on the video, but in the background, it is adjusting to your network conditions. The third thing is that Stream is actually scalable, and it can be for hundreds of thousands of users if required. What happens is when you access a Stream video, that's what's called a unicast, if you can imagine, almost like a one-on-one connection to the video. But let's say that you had a business that had tens of and thousands of employees that wanted to play the same video at the same time. You can use something called multicasting, and you would do that by integrating third-party solutions. Some of them you can see here on the slide, so that Hive, Ramp, and Connective, you can lock them into Stream, and Stream is set up ready to go today to integrate those solutions. And the last, and again the one that's probably one of the most valuable, is the security of Stream. So it uses AES 128 encryption, both in transit and at rest. So you can rest assured that all of your video on the Stream platform is going to be encrypted. So that's very important when we start considering putting our own IP and content on it. So that leads us kind of up to the question then of using Stream through Microsoft Teams. So I've tried to kind of visualize this. So we are using the enterprise video service, we're using all the content, all the video that you house in Stream, and we're using that together with Teams. So it's boils down to accessing video through Teams and how we can make that an effective use of video. Now, when putting the two together, you will find, as we will show you in the next 20 minutes, that this has a lot of benefits for business. You can look at this from a team perspective, or you can look at this from an organization perspective. From a team's perspective, by putting Stream and Teams together, you can look at a rise in productivity, because if we can put all the video where people are using it every day, then there's more chance that it's going to be accessed, people know where it is. The second is from learning. So we can put all of the video together in a way that helps people to learn. I run, as an MCT, I run a lot of my courses through Microsoft Teams, and by putting video within that team helps people to go on and continue their learning, or use the video within the learning context itself. Thirdly, from a Teams perspective, it increases that creativity. Teams is not all just about using files together or chatting together. It is also about creating and consuming video together. We can, as I will show you, we can literally create mini YouTubes within side Teams, and asking somebody to be able to create a video or create a series means is that we're doing a lot more creative things than sitting there writing out documents. And the fourth is that it appeals to cultural norms. We all know that we're going through digital transformation at this moment in time, and part of that digital transformation is we're seeing an influx of younger millennial workers where working with video and consuming things through video is the norm. So instead of trying to make them read documents within the team, or almost collaborate and communicate through ways that were more in fashion 10 or 20 years ago, I think that, for many younger workers, but sitting down and watching a video makes a lot more sense than sitting through and reading a blog, or reading through a long technical document. So it can have massive benefits for the team, but also it can have massive benefits for the organization in terms of privacy, security, and control. They can use this video platform because it's already within their Microsoft 365 tenant. And it will take away their reliance on having to use platforms such as YouTube. So that if they're not comfortable putting their content on the public platform, they can put it on their own private video platform. The second is in terms of productivity, because you can have those productivity gains throughout the whole business in terms of using video. And the third, and this is an important one, is about return on investment. It's about your investment within Microsoft 365 or Office 365 and using this application to the fullest. There is nothing worse than using Office 365 or Microsoft 365 and just lighting up Exchange, or just lighting up Teams, or just lighting up SharePoint. You want to use this application for the fullest, because then you will start to see a much higher return on investment. So how do people typically use Stream and Teams together today? Well, the first one is in terms of recording their meetings. So the recording functionality in Microsoft Teams captures the video call and then deposits it in Microsoft Teams. And if you don't know how to do that today, I'm just going to jump out to the screen here. Okay, I'm going to go to the calendar. I'm going to then join my meeting. Okay, so I'm going to continue without audio and video so that it doesn't trigger anything else. I'm just going to go and join that meeting right now. So you can see that I'm in my meeting, and imagine that I'm having a meeting with 4 or 5 people at this time. I go down to the meeting controls, and then I actually start the recording. So I'm just going to go ahead and you can see it pops up and then says you're recording. I'm just going to dismiss that. And then I'm then going to stop the recording. So that just gives you a very quick view and a lot of people use this recording functionality today. So I'm just going to exit this actual meeting, and you can see the recording has stopped and it's saving that recording to Microsoft Stream. So we're going to come back in a second to have a little bit of a view of that. Now, people typically use this for meetings today. What they don't do is use it for all the different kinds of meetings that you could possibly have. So I see a lot of this used in formal business meetings where it is usually chat based. You're coming to make a decision, but this recording and indeed Teams meetings can be used for huddles, can be used for demos. If we look at seminars, support sessions, you can leverage the whiteboard sharing to be able to collaboratively work on the whiteboard. You can use it if we're looking at a vertical context in HR in order to be able to do interviews. So do people within inside your organization kind of know all these use cases to use Microsoft Teams meetings and to do all their recordings? Now, if I just kind of come back into this meeting, it's still going to be recording, so I'll come back to that in a bit. But recording is one of the principal ways today that people are using Teams and Stream together. The second is to share a simple video post. They may have kind of come across Stream, they may have logged into the Stream control panel. So that's web.microsoftstream.com, and they might have found the video and they say, oh, I'm going to go and share this video with inside my team. So if I go to discover and I go to video right here, it's going to load up my videos. So I'm just going to start one right here. Okay. And what they do is they say, I'm going to grab the sharing link. I'm going to copy that sharing link. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into the actual team itself. So if I go to my team, this is a very good video that I want to use. So if I go back to posts, and they're going to post that. Now, the downside of that is that if they click that link and come through, then that is going to log in to the stream portal. We ideally want to be able to see that video in Teams, as opposed to having to use two different portals at the same time. So these two use cases, the case of recording and the case of simple sharing and signposting to video, for me are the two typical use cases that we typically see when using Teams and Stream together today. Now, we need to kind of really pivot our thinking on this. What I've just shown you really kind of comes down to, you know, that tier one right at the bottom. What we're actually doing is that we are creating content and we're putting it into Stream. And what typically tends to happen is that Stream becomes almost like a video vault, and people record it there and never really look at it again. And this is kind of the situation that we want to kind of get away from. So if we move up to tier two here by pivoting our thinking, this is by what I was saying earlier and trying to get all the parts of the business for all of the different use cases to record content in Microsoft Stream. So it's not just isolated to a few users that are doing their recording, but trying to kind of get the whole organization to understand. But where high utilization actually starts occurring is when people are not only producing and those videos are going into Stream, but when people are then taking the content and pushing it back into Teams so that you can start consuming that video as well. And that's the important point, and that is a part that people don't really realize at this current time, in all the different ways that you can actually consume in Microsoft Teams. So there is a lot of powerful possibilities that we are now going to explore for the next 15 minutes. The first is channels and vaults. The second are watch lists. The third being quizzes and series. Fourth being shared system audio. And the fifth being video-based applications. These are all ways in which you are going to see how we can take that content in Stream and serve it up within Microsoft Teams. So the first is being able to do so within a channel. Now, channels are an organizational method of video. So these can be assigned to individuals and groups and set up as tabs. What that actually means, if you look at the picture right there, you can almost have your own mini YouTube within inside your team. Now, I set this up earlier. I'm just going to show you. So if I go to this tab here, which is the Teams admin channel, here we go. So this is all of the videos that I've set for my team being able to be accessed. And if I just click on one of those, one click,
I have Adam Delton.
There we go. So you can see that the video can be played straight within the channel. Now, how do we actually do that? If I go into Microsoft Stream, okay, then what I did was I actually created a group. So I created this group called the Teams admin group, and that is creating an Office 365 group. Once I created the Office 365 group, I then added a team to that group. So here is my Teams admin group. I added a team, and that created the team that you can see within Microsoft Teams. So that was my group, and that was my team created. What we then use is we use something called channels. So I created the channel. Okay, so I'm just going to discover, there we go. So I created the Teams admin channel. And then once I created the channel, I then took the videos that were in there, edited the video, and then, as you can see, I gave the channel permissions over the video. And I did that for all of my videos. So if I wanted to, so let me just close that. So as if we wanted to create this again, I then come into Teams. I then clicked on Stream, I then started to type the channel name. I'll call this channel. And you can see that that channel with all of the videos is there and is visible. I click it once. I click save. And there you will see that all of our videos appear that has been assigned to our channel and our group that has permissions over that channel. So we can carve up Stream like this by creating channels and creating groups so that we can have a team. As you can see that all these videos are all Microsoft Teams based, but you can have a channel for marketing videos, you can have a channel for sales videos and link them to your marketing and sales team within Microsoft Teams. And that can be consumed by the users inside that team, and they've got quick and easy access to all of those videos that, and this is an important point, are relevant and pertinent to them. So that is a quick view on how to create channels. They're good for Teams playlists, for learning paths. If you can think of, they could be used for project references. You could record a lot of demos and use it for technical training in there. You could record marketing collateral and product demos and put them in your marketing team. You could use it for guidelines on sales. You could use it on meetings and push the meetings back up into the channels. You then have vaults. So this is a video vault for the organization. So this is using SharePoint, and I was just looking at channels from a Teams perspective and having these videos applicable to just singular teams, but you can also do it for the whole organization as well. So if I come into this team up here on the left hand side, that's the all company team, and every person within the business has access to that. Now if I click on this on home, you can also create a vault of all of the videos that you have within Stream to be accessible to all of the people within your business. So what I mean by that is that when you create the videos within Stream and you upload them, they will automatically appear here because this is a SharePoint web part, and I've pulled through the actual SharePoint page onto the screen. Let me just show you how we can actually do that. So if I go into Files and I go into Open in SharePoint, you can see that I come to all of my documents in my team. But if I go to the home page here in SharePoint, you can see that I've added a web part into the Stream web part into SharePoint that houses all of the videos that I have in Microsoft Stream. And then what I've done is I've then added, so if I go to SharePoint, I can then add the home page, and then it will be served up as I showed previously. So if you're looking at things from a Teams perspective, you can look at channels. If you're looking at an all-up perspective, you can have a large vault that's surfaced in Teams that's applied to an org-wide team. The second is for watch lists. So these are personalized watch lists for a specific member of the team. Now, personalized watch lists are good for self-paced development, canned demos, portfolios. Let me take the scenario. I'm a salesman and I'm in my team's meetings and I want to be able to show a video of the power of Office 365. I can do so by using watch lists very easily. quickly. Now, watch lists, let me just show you how to do this within. So I'm in my team's admin group. I see I'm in my channel for video. And then what I do is I'm looking at a video and I think, well, hey, I can use this, this is going to be really valuable to me. I want to be able to have this in a personal playlist. So all I do with that video is that I click this, which is add to watch list. Okay, so I'm going to add this video to the watch list. I'm going to go back. I am then going to have this video of my good friend Vesku, who you just saw. Okay, and I'm also going to add that to my watch list. So what we then do in order to be able to access our personal watch list is we then come down to the app bar on the left hand side and then we select stream. And then you can see that I can access my personal watch list right there from the app bar in Microsoft Teams. And we can pin that. So depending upon your app setup policy, but I'm just going to pin that. So if I change out to, let's say, go back to working with Teams, I can then access all of my video that I've added to my watch list, and I can go and watch them later. I can go and watch them videos in my own time. If I'm in the Microsoft Teams meeting, then I can start playing this video straight away, just as I'm going to do now within this live event or within the meeting. So that watch lists are another really effective way to use video through Teams, but also for your own personal development. The third way in which we can use Microsoft Teams is to use it in combination with Microsoft Forms. So that's embedding those videos within Forms for constructing logical series of video. Now, again, as an MCT or as a former school teacher, this is a great functionality for either assessment for learning, higher order learning, so we could ask questions around the video. It's not just questions with a diagram. It's not multiple choice questions. We can get our learners to watch the video and extrapolate the information that we're looking for from them. It is also about the logical order in a video or thematic ordering. If you can think of when we go to a conference today, they have learning paths in order for series of sessions to go to for learning across the series. And we can do that as well within Microsoft Teams, Forms and Stream. So I'm going to come back now to my team. I have a couple of examples. So this is an example of a series. As you can see, you can now move through all a series. I mean, you can choose them in any order that you like, but you can actually state on the form that the idea is to move through these set of videos in order to be able to learn. So that is a logical moving through every art-like video within the series. You can also, if we're looking at quizzes, set the video right at the top as the first question, and then ask all the subsequent questions off the back of that. Now, how did I actually create them? So I'm going to just dive into Microsoft Forms, and you can see that I've got examples of each of these forms. So I'm going to, first of all, go to the series. That's what it actually looks like. But if I go back to forms, I'm going to start creating a new form. Okay, now this is for a series. Okay, now add new, and you click this button here, which is called rating, because under the rating question, you can then add video. So let's say that I've got my video here. I am going to take the share link, so I'm going to copy that share link. And then I'm going to paste it into the URL. I'm going to click add. I'm going to then remove the question. And there we go. That's how you create a series. You would just do that kind of several times. You can, in addition, enter a description. Please watch the whole series. Okay. And then what we can do, so if we call that series 2, okay, then what we do is we then jump back into Microsoft Teams. We then click the add button. We then click the forms button, add an existing form. I want to add that second series that I've just created. Then I'm going to click add. Okay. There we go. It's all up and that series is ready to go. Now, in terms of doing the quiz is done in exactly the same way. But then what we actually do underneath is, instead of just using the rating question, we would then do, question. And then we would turn that into a quiz. And we would do exactly the same thing in Teams. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, I'm going to remove. And then going to add forms again. Adding forms. Okay, I think that's the one. There we go. So we've got our quiz now inside it. So that's another way from what you're producing, to be able to build around that from a learning perspective. Fourth way, and I can't actually do the demo of this because I'm already in a meeting, is something that's called shared system audio. So this was a small functionality that was introduced not so long ago, which allows you to actually add sound. So you can't today hear the sound on that video playing through this meeting, but with shared system audio. So if you see the screenshot shows, if you can see a little purple tick button that says include system audio, in the last month that's been moved to the presenter's controls. What you can do is that you can play your stream videos within the meeting. So going back to that example of the salesperson who wants to be able to, do their demo, what they would do is, inside their team, they would just either come to the channel within inside their team, or they would come to their personal watch list. They would press play, and with the shared system audio function, anyone that was in that meeting will be able to hear the video, and they would be able to do so without having to play the video loud and through a pair of speakers. So this is it's richer content in meetings, it's richer content in training. Now, this doesn't just apply to stream. You can do this for any video. So if you went to YouTube and you started playing a video, using shared system audio would put the audio so that other people in the meeting could hear that audio. And I think it was just announced yesterday, or maybe the day before, that shared system audio is coming to live events very, very soon. It's now in testing. It's going to come through it in the next kind of few weeks to a month. The fifth, and arguably one of the most impressive, is to then do it on video-based apps. So this is streaming videos within custom apps that are uploaded to Teams. And I don't have enough time today in order to be able to go into the details about, how to build apps, but you can now embed stream video within applications, and you can use these apps for learning, for tasks, for onboarding, or for selling. So I'm just showing you an example here, but I'm going to show you an app that I made a little bit earlier today. So this app is just a very simple 3-screen app. It was a get started in Microsoft Teams app. And if I go to the second screen, it links to a lot of videos. And if I was to click on one of these arrows, then it would go to another screen which would then, you can then play the video. And once we've created that application, we can then add it to Teams. So by adding it to Teams, what it then does is you download the app as a zip file, and then in Teams, you would then come to the App Store, and then you would upload that zip file, which you can see that I have done by creating that Teams app. Now, if I go to, I've pinned that Teams app like I pinned Stream in the left-hand side, so I'm just going to click on that. And this is what it actually looks like within Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to click on the button, I'm going to click Get Started, and then the video that I want to see is a sneak peek with Adam Deltinger. I'm going to then click on the button.
I have Adam Deltinger here with us. So for those of you,
so you can see that you can build apps that's based off video. Now you imagine the scenario of how powerful that you could create an app on how to use Teams, and then you can have all video demonstrations to your users and create that with several pages. So whether they were to how to create a team, or how to start a meeting, or how to place a call in Teams, or how to upload a file, you can create video demonstrations and stick them in the app that's accessible to all of the users within your business. And you could do that personalized to them. So that's a really powerful possibility. Or imagine that you have a product portfolio and you wanted to demonstrate in video formats what each one of those products do. Again, you can build an app, package it, and then put it into Microsoft Teams that's available to your organization. So now, kind of rounding off today, because we've seen what we can do, and we've seen the 5 ways. We've seen channels and vaults, we've seen personal watch lists, we've seen quizzes and series, we've seen how to serve them up with shared system audio, and we've seen the video based apps. What more now are we getting in the future? And I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to start kind of just picking this up at this point. The first which is now here is recording in mobile. So you can not just create these videos through recording in Microsoft Teams, or recording in Microsoft Stream. You can use the Stream mobile app in order to be able to create and record new video. Now imagine that you're at a conference, you're sitting down in front of the speaker, you can hold up your phone, record through the Microsoft Stream app, and then that video will then be put in Microsoft Stream, which can then be accessed inside your instance of Teams. So you can record, live events, for want of a better term, if you go to a conference. What we are actually waiting for at the moment is what you can see in yellow, which is uploading to the specific channels. We saw in that first method, the channel, I want to record this video and I want to put it in the channel that my team is linked to so that they can access it straight away. Imagine how powerful that is. You go to an event, you record it, as soon as it's finished recording, they can access it through their channel in Microsoft Teams. So that is coming. It's linked to 49375 on the roadmap. It says Q1 2020 for calendar year 2020. We're past that, but they've said that this is a priority to be able to do right now. The second is the voice enhancement. So this is coming in roadmap item 57301. This eliminates the background noise in the video. Now this will be just as good, because this is recording on site. If you think about recording at conferences or recording within crowds, if you're trying to record from a location that's next to a construction site or a busy motorway, then you are going to be able to do so, and a voice enhancement means that it eliminates that distracting background noise, so you can focus on the person who is actually speaking. So that's a great AI advancement. So we're looking forward to seeing that. That goes towards better quality video, which can then be served up into Microsoft Teams. The third, and what is the big one, is this idea of anonymous sharing. So during kind of later on this year in Q4, so that's the back end of the autumn and moving into winter, this is allowing individual videos to be marked for external public access. So what that means is that people with outside your organization can view those videos. So we're going to be seeing that guests can view those videos. We're going to be seeing that external users and anonymous users can see those videos too, and that's where we think is going to be the real hockey stick. Because the one I would say limitation today is that when you record a video and when you start using a video, those videos are only accessed within inside your organization. To have the guests within inside your team's instance, or just to have an anonymous users in order to be able to view it, this is what it really needs. So this is what, some organizations say drive it to use the public platforms like YouTube, because they can't push those videos out to their customer base. Well, the good news is that that's coming, and that's something that where I think it's really going to take off. So returning to the outcomes today and moving just to move on to our QA, we've looked at why video is so important. It's so important because people are consuming a lot of video today. You think about how much of that internet bandwidth is being used on video today. People are not only consuming it, they're producing it. They're not only producing it, but it's an extremely efficient way to transmit information, and it's fast, already is a cultural norm. When we think about those things on top of Stream, it can package all of those different types of files. It can encrypt. It can scale in terms of moving to multicasting with those solutions. Then Stream is becoming an extremely interesting proposition as a platform. How we've looked at moving away from just using recording and that simple sharing to using all different ways in which we can now consume video. So we've looked at those channels and vaults. We've looked at the personal watch lists. We've looked at quizzes and series. We've looked at the shared system audio, and we've looked at video apps. And we had a quick touch on that future development. So it's only going to get better from this point. We're going to have the ability to record off the mobile app, going straight into channels. We're going to see the noise reduction and voice enhancements come in, and we're going to see that sharing with anonymous users. So I would just like to thank you for coming to the session today and viewing it. You can keep in touch with me by connecting with me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I do run a blog on Microsoft365pro.co.uk, and for all those methods that you've seen today in terms of the watch lists and the video apps, it has step-by-step instructions on that blog. If you look through the blogs with how to apply that, I do quite a few blogs on Teams and Stream working together. But also as well, once we're all out of the situation that we're in, I do often speak at events such as Microsoft Ignite or SharePoint Saturday. I'd love to see you on them too. So thank you very much for spending this time with me, but also thanks again to Russ for the opportunity to speak today, and to our sponsors for making this possible.